The city shimmered in evening gold as Blake parked an aging sedan outside a small corner cafe. He smoothed the creases in his plain shirt, feeling oddly exposed without his usual tailored suit. Once the youngest self-made millionaire in the city, he'd grown used to admiration that ended where his money began. Lately, success had started to feel like a cage lined with gold. Tonight, he wanted something real, something no amount of wealth could buy. He glanced in the rearview mirror at his twins, Liam and Sophie, their faces glowing with curiosity. "Ready for our little adventure?" he asked, forcing a smile. "Daddy, why are we pretending to be poor?" Sophie whispered, hugging her stuffed bunny. Adrian chuckled softly and brushed her hair aside. "Because sometimes people see money before they see the person," he said. "And I want someone who'll see us." Liam frowned. "So it's a game?" "Something like that," Adrian replied, though his heart felt heavier than he let on. As they stepped out, he noticed his hands, trembling slightly, something that never happened during board meetings. It wasn't fear of rejection that unnerved him. It was the fragile hope of being understood for once. Inside the cafe, the air smelled of coffee and cinnamon, simple and comforting. Emma Hart sat by the window, nervously stirring her drink, unaware of the truth that would change everything. Adrian approached with his twins in tow, his steps hesitant. She looked up, expecting a polished businessman, but instead found a man with tired eyes and two lively children. "You brought company," she said, surprised but not displeased. Adrian smiled, a real one this time. "They insisted on meeting you." Her laughter was warm, unguarded, and for a brief second, he felt the walls around his heart loosen. Conversation flowed more easily than Adrian expected. Emma didn't ask about his career or possessions. Instead, she asked the twins about school, favorite bedtime stories, and their dreams. Liam shyly admitted he wanted to be an astronaut. Sophie declared she'd rather paint the moon pink. Emma laughed and listened like their words mattered more than anything. When Liam spilled his juice, she didn't flinch or sigh. She simply helped him clean it up, humming as she worked. Adrian watched in silence, struck by how naturally she cared. He'd been surrounded by people who served him, yet this woman, who owed him nothing, gave freely of herself. As dusk deepened outside, the cafe lights turned soft and golden. Emma leaned back, smiling as she said, "You don't need much money to make people feel rich, Adrian. You already have what matters." The words struck him deeper than any compliment he'd ever received. When she stood to leave, Sophie reached out and hugged her, surprising them both, whispering something that made the girl giggle. Adrian walked them home afterward, the cool night air brushing against him like a promise. For the first time in years, the man who had everything. A week passed since that simple coffee date. Yet Adrian couldn't stop thinking about Emma. Her laughter echoed in his mind. Her warmth lingered in his chest. The twins talked about her constantly. How she drew cats on napkins. How she listened without hurrying. How she made even cheap coffee taste like a memory. Adrian had spent his life surrounded by luxury, yet none of it compared to the way she looked at his children as if they were treasures. He'd built empires out of money and logic, but one afternoon with her had reminded him of something. Priceless, authentic kindness. Determined to see her again, Adrian arranged a surprise. It was the night of the Blake Industries charity gala, the grandest event of the year. He told his assistant to send Emma a formal invitation, signed only with his initials. "Tell her it's a community teacher recognition dinner," he said, his voice steady but his heart racing. He wanted to reveal everything. Not to impress her, but to show her who he truly was. For once, he wanted someone to love both Adrian the man and Adrian the millionaire. The twins, dressed in tiny suits, whispered excitedly, "Is Miss Emma coming?" When Emma arrived at the hotel ballroom, her breath caught. The crystal chandeliers glimmered like captured stars, and guests moved through the hall in designer gowns and tuxedos. She clutched her invitation nervously, wondering if there'd been a mistake. Then she saw him. Adrian, standing at the center of the room in a sleek black suit, the same gentle smile on his face. "You're—" she began, her voice trembling. "You're him?" Adrian nodded, his expression humble yet uncertain. "I'm sorry I lied," he said quietly. "I had to know if you could love me without this." Emma blinked, her mind spinning. She remembered the old car, the worn shirt, the man who'd listened instead of bragging. It seemed impossible that he was the same man whose company's logo gleamed on skyscrapers. "You could have told me," she whispered. You didn't need to test me. Adrian's eyes softened. Maybe not, he admitted. But I've lived in a world where everyone wears masks. I needed to see if someone could look past mine. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then slowly she smiled, the same warm, unguarded smile that had first melted him. Money doesn't impress me, Adrian. Kindness does. The tension in his chest finally broke. He exhaled, relief flooding through him like light after rain. At that moment, the twins ran up to Emma, wrapping their little arms around her legs. Daddy said we can choose our new mommy, Sophie said proudly. We choose you. The crowd around them laughed softly, moved by the innocent declaration. Emma knelt, tears glimmering in her eyes as she hugged them back. Adrian stepped closer, voice low and full of emotion. Then I guess we're all in agreement, he said. You've given us more than love. You've given us a home.